This episode of ChatEDU is sponsored in part by the National Center for Next Generation Manufacturing. They've got their Next Gen Manufacturing Summit coming up in October 15th through 17th in Rochester Hills, Michigan. Certainly worth checking out if you're in the advanced manufacturing and design field or an educator working on education and workforce development. And of course, by our friends at EDIA, the platform to improve K-12 outcomes. You can find them at edia.app/contact. Dr. Reddy, that is
EDIA.app/contact.
No one last week liked the podcast and made a comment that it was because of the way you read a URL.
But Joanne Mumley did say that my voice was great.
She did. She's the best.
Yes.
Liz, let's talk slop.
There's a lot of it out there.
So what is slop? Like, if you haven't been listening along, what is AI slop?
So AI slop is just the stuff that AI makes, and it just makes so much of it. And it's like, looks high quality, but it's not high quality. And it looks good, but it's not great.
Is all AI content slop?
No, not all AI content is
all right,
slop.
cool.
Of course not.
All right. So, of course, Harvard Business Review, I haven't said Harvard in a while, Harvard Business Review with Stanford and BetterUp came out with a new study. This was covered in Axios. They've coined a new term about AI slop that happens at work, which they cleverly called
work slop.
They highlight this idea of work slop, Liz. So this is polished but low-value AI-generated workplace content. They claim this is a serious productivity drain.
Yeah, so they did a survey of 1,100 U.S. desk workers, and about 40% reported encountering work slop recently. And they claim they lose nearly 2 hours per incident. So the estimated losses reach $186 per employee per month, or $9 million a year in some large organizations. Most workers find it annoying or confusing and view senders as less capable, but 18% admit sending it themselves.
All right, so you and I have communicated about this.
We have.
We asked each other, have I seen work slop in my day-to-day? I mean, I see plenty of stuff that I know as AI. I don't know if I would call it work slop. Have you?
No, I would say like mass emails seem like work slop, but they were slop before anyway.
Slop
so like
before the AI.
Like mass emails always were not great for me, and we are guilty of sending some too.
Well, listen, I'm no research scientist, but I hang out with one, you. So I thought, let's do a survey.
Yeah.
So we have our AI strategies team here at Advanced, the Regional Education Service Center in Western Connecticut. And there's about, 15 people on our AI strategies team that come from all over the organization, led by our executive director, Jonathan Costa. So I put out a quick little survey, which I actually used the new cool text-to-form feature in Gemini for paid accounts. I was like, wait, is this work slop?
Yeah.
It was really good, though. So Liz, as a research scientist with a PhD, EDD, you got some Ds somewhere.
EDD.
Yeah.
Can we not say you've got some D's somewhere?
I think, Andre, leave that in. It's perfect. What's going on? Tell us about the results of this high-quality, peer-reviewed study I conducted.
Yes. So
we got 9 responses.
9 responses, but 78% of the people that responded say yes. So that's 7 out of 9 say that, yes, they have encountered.
Thanks for the fast math.
They have encountered work slop. So many said that it's the emails that are verbose but lack substance.
Pretty much like double anything else, right?
Yeah. I mean, everything else was like one person saw, code comments or documentation that are syntactically correct but functionally misleading.
All right. So most people have seen it. They say it's email. Then we ask them, the next logical question is it taking you time? Is it costing Jonathan $186 per employee per month to fix? And what do they say?
50% said no, not significantly.
Okay.
And 1 person said yes frequently, and 3 said occasionally.
I think at our next AI planning team meeting, the strategies team meeting, we should all decide who's the 1 person who said yes frequently. All right. And so then on a scale of 1 to 5, we asked, how much of a concern is work slop? And that one was like, people are moderately concerned, right?
Yeah. I mean, most people were in the 2, 3, and 4 range. So great that no one was at a 5, that it was like really a big problem. Only 1 person down on the 1 end that it's not a problem at all. So, most of us are in the middle. So that's good.
All right. And then my final question was, do you believe that AI is enabling superficial productivity rather than real gains within our agency? Now, based on all the previous questions, again, as a person with Ds, PhE, whatever, Sorry, it is an EDD. Let's be clear about that. And it's important too. And it's on efficacy in mathematics.
That's right.
All right. I know a lot about your the D's. I would have thought that people would have been like, yeah, I'm pretty concerned about this. And how did it turn out?
Yeah, no, most people disagreed that it is enabling superficial productivity rather than real gains.
Now, Liz, is it true here again that one person strongly agreed that it was a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it was the same one person who's spending $186 of Jonathan's money fixing people's stuff?
Probably.
Okay. We're getting a little too personal here. We love the AI strategies team. Good on you. But yeah, so I don't know. Email us at chatedU@edadvance.org and let us know if you are seeing a lot of work slop in your workplace. Now, I did not want to end what you call this the cold open, but I didn't want to end our little thing here. Oh, this was interesting. The Rundown, which is a newsletter I read every day. It was in today's Rundown, and they said AI is ripping through the workplace, then with an M dash. AI is ripping through the workplace, M dash. But like we've seen in the education system, many are choosing to offload cognitive tasks entirely instead of using the tech as a collaborative tool. So I thought that was just an interesting little, a comparison.
Yes.
All right. And we will report that back out to the AI strategies team as well. So also on the Rundown, they do this like user use case. We should do that too. That would be fun. But they do use cases of like people just write it and say like, here's how I'm using AI. And I love this one.
This was a good one.
It was sports. It was AI. It's not slop. Tell us about this.
Yeah. So this came from reader Mark D in the United Kingdom.
Wait, so can you read it with a British accent then?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Go ahead.
So he said, instead of handing my two sports mad boys their school reports as dry PDFs, I turned them into something they'd actually enjoy. Using ChatGPT, I rewrote the reports as soccer post-match analysis scripts.
Brilliant.
Complete with commentary on their stats, highlights, and areas for training. Then I ran the scripts through 11 labs, giving them the voice of an excitable sports broadcast. The result? School feedback delivered like a match of the day highlight reel. Strengths became goals scored, targets became training drills, and report day suddenly felt like match day. For the first time, they asked to hear their reports more than once. This is awesome. The thing that stuck out to me immediately was that he said soccer, not football, because he's in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the Rundown. He knows he's writing for an American audience.
Yes,
so.
But what a cool use case.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, another bit of sunshine and joy for the world of parenting. I saw this one. This is a kind of a genius use case that someone posted on LinkedIn. And Liz, this definitely falls into like a drumbeat of stories that we're hearing about Gemini and productivity. I mentioned something about it last week in terms of like mail and calendar, but look at this one. This is Annette V., an associate professor of English at University of Pittsburgh. New AI use alert. Ask Gemini to add school events to your calendar. She says, you're welcome, parents of school-aged children. For what it's worth, I know I'm giving up a lot of privacy to let an AI agent be my school communication secretary. I am overwhelmed.
I get it, and I love this.
Every parent can relate. So she's in Gemini, and Gemini is now talking to Calendar the same way Gemini would talk to Mail, right? I think these are the two last bastions of like bringing all these things together. So Liz, tell us about the prompt.
Yeah, so she uploaded a fall honors band schedule, the PDF into the chat, and then said, in the attached PDF, please insert all the concert and practice dates for honors band into my, quote, kids and family Google Calendar. Label them Eleanor Honors Band Practice After School and indicate when there isn't an activity bus by saying activity bus unavailable. Label the concerts with Eleanor's Honors Band concert and give the location of the concert. First, please list all the events below and let me review and approve them, which I love that last part. That
human
like
in the loop, right?
Human in the loop. I'm going to list them all. And then you can say like, oh, this one got in here by mistake, or I know she's not going to this concert because we're on vacation or whatever it is. So she sees the whole list and then it just goes and populates her calendar.
When the AI agents want to take over my calendar and my mail and fill in my mileage log, and again, this is where it gets interesting. This will be true for Outlook as well, but like, Google's seemingly having Gemini take whole big hits of the productivity change from Docs to Drive to Gemini itself to Notebook LM to Mail and Calendar. Good stuff. All right, so Liz, are you down with this?
Oh, I am so down with this.
I am too. And with that, I'm Matt Mervis.
And I'm Liz Rade.
And this is ChatEDU, the AI and Education podcast. In today's episode, Is This Still Art? Debating the AI's role in storytelling and sound. We're going to look at a handful of stories about AI and human creativity.
But first, we'll hit this week's rundown, including a series of stories about AI and creativity. And we'll end with another great Bright Byte.
Liz, I know you love these stories. So we're going to start off with a little brain rot. Shall we start with some brain rot?
Yeah.
First, we started with work slop, and now we're with brain rot.
Brain rot. This is the AI and Education podcast.
Well, people always say to us, I really like that you guys are real. And we are. And actually, this episode is going to get even more real. So, frequent AI chatbot use associated with lower grades among computer science students. Now, we will get real here, although frankly, I think this is more about common sense than it is about AI. So, Liz, tell us what's going on here. This is SciPost from Karina Petrova, September 24th, 2025. Tell us about it, Doc.
Yeah, so this study in Computers and Human Behavior Reports found that frequent use of AI chatbots like ChatGPT negatively correlates with academic performance among 231 first-year computer science students at the University of Tartu. You know where that is, Matt?
Estonia.
Yeah, only because I put it in there.
You're right. I would not have known.
Well, see?
I was going to Tartu next week. Carry on.
Yes. Anyway, I mean, this was kind of an obvious thing. So about 80% of students use chatbots at least once. Only 5% use them weekly. But heavier users ultimately scored lower across programming tests and the final exam, especially the first test. So some students, 20%, avoided chatbots by choice because they wanted to learn independently and it wasn't like a fear of plagiarism.
That's
so
right.
These were committed students to really authentic learning. But the kids that used chatbots frequently obviously tried fewer solutions, had, less opportunities for this trial and error process that really helps you learn how to code. So much of learning and coding is failing and figuring out your mistakes. And so if they were using the tools, they weren't figuring out the mistakes and learning from there. So the other thing is that students said that ChatGPT was fast and available, but it wasn't always accurate or sometimes got overly complex. So, there's concerns as usual over reliance on AI in this foundational learning. And I think Charlie Hughes talked about this too in her coding class, that her professor said, use it all you want, but ultimately you're going to have to walk into this room and code for me without the tool. And so Charlie said if I needed help, I could get help from the tool, but it didn't actually help because the ultimate assignments were these tests.
Right. And that's why I said this is really more about common sense than it is about, you could have done the same thing with code libraries, all sorts of stuff. So, but it was computer science. And so I wanted to see what our favorite thinker had to say about this because he posts a lot on LinkedIn. I was like, I know there's gonna be a thought here. So do you know who I'm talking about?
I do know who you're talking about. Pat Yang Pradeep.
Yeah. So Pat is the chief academic officer at code.org. Really great. If you're on LinkedIn, follow him, all sorts of really interesting stuff. And he kind of broke it down into headline, another headline, and then the key takeaway. And so I'm going to give the abbreviated version. Headline, unstructured use of AI assistance related to lower grades. Another headline, the sky is blue.
Yeah.
It's great. Then he breaks down the study and then his give us the punchline at the very end.
The no-duh takeaway. Unstructured or excessive use of AI chatbots risks undermining fundamental skill development. Educators should focus on guiding students how to use AI to support rather than substitute for learning.
All right. So a perfect other story came out a couple days prior, which is about nuance, right? I think that, we love these binaries. And I think this is true of the Harvard Business Review study. We love saying it's all bad, it's all good, right? It's nuanced like every other general purpose technology. So OpenAI puts out this book, ironically, where they're printing the book and sending it around to colleges. There's also a really good website called 100 Ways College Students Are Using ChatGPT. This is from the ChatGPT and Education team. It's a pretty good team. They've been putting out neat stuff. OpenAI, September 17th. So, quick details, 70 students from a bunch of colleges. They kind of curated all their chats and came up across quite a few campuses of just what were the most useful chats.
Yeah.
And so I sent Liz an assignment over the weekend, which seems to be one of my problems. And I was like, hey,
and Liz did it, which is also her problem.
It was quite an excitement. I was like, this is cool. Check this out. What are your favorites? So I don't know. We'll put the links to the book and the chat page, which is way more interesting because you can just click on one of the kids' example chats and then go right into ChatGPT and play with it.
Yeah, it takes you right there.
So, but what did you, is actually the whole user interface of that page I thought was quite good.
Cool.
We want to borrow some thoughts from that. But, what's your takeaway? You looked at all of them. I gather it was not like all good or all bad, right?
No, and it was definitely not all academic. So, while it says 100 uses for college students, so many of these are beyond college student use, as low as high school, middle school, and like just beyond that. So the first one that caught my eye was match your mood. So I'm feeling really unmotivated and burnt out. Can you help me understand this topic, knowing the way I feel today?
I love that. Context, right? Yeah.
Well, I actually did it and I said, I'm feeling really unmotivated and burnt out. Can you help me understand what size needles and how many stitches I need to cast on for a hat
Get out of here.
Fingering weight
you
yarn?
Unmotivated to do a knitting task?
No, but I was just like feeling this weekend was a little rough at my house. So I was just feeling like a little burnt out.
Do you want to talk?
No, I don't. So, but the chatbot came back and was like, here's what you need. I get it. You need a simple hat. Here's how many stitches. Here's the needles and whatever.
Nice.
But other posts, compare your job resume to a posting. I thought that was a unique way to like, here's what the job wants. Here's my resume, and give me an analysis as like a percent. So how close do I match the call?
Yep.
This one I could so see using. I feel like, Matt, this is a good one for you. Like, I'm going to brain dump all my thoughts on a topic. Can you help me organize?
I actually do this in the car a bunch. I was just out in Wyoming last week, and I had to do a bunch of new stuff I had not done before. And it took hours and hours and hours of time, but it started with a long half-hour drive where I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. And then and then I want to do this. Oh, hang on, read that back to me. Okay, now I want to do that. And it was super, super helpful.
Yeah.
Again, all it did when it was done was like, just give me a really good structure.
Right.
And then I spent hours doing human cognitive labor with it. But
right. I don't know if I still told this story on the podcast, but the very first copy or very first version of my dissertation that I handed into my advisor, she said it was academic vomit.
No, I promise I would remember that.
And basically what she meant was like, I had brain dumped everything I knew about self-efficacy and math and like threw it up on the page. And she called it academic vomit.
See, if you had advanced voice mode, you could have academically vomited into that, and
exactly.
and your advisor would have got something a little more cleaned up.
Yes.
A little less vom.
A little bit less vomity, but this one I liked, especially for those like anybody really, but understand a lease or contract, but then like asking you a question like, can you read this lease and let me know if I can paint my walls? Because sometimes that's just what you want to know when you move into a rental property. Or can I hang this on the wall or whatever? And
we saw that in the study last week, which was like where they looked at the 700 million people that were using ChatGPT on a regular basis. And a lot of it was like just practical advice.
Right. Yep.
College kids need it too. Cool.
Dorm cooking. What are some healthy meals I can make in my dorm with only a microwave and small fridge? I thought this was perfect for an adult who doesn't even know where the stove is.
Sorry, you're speaking about yourself?
Yeah, right there. Oh, I liked this one. Get project instructions from a photo. So like, here's a picture of whatever you want to make. What are the steps I should take? And people were asking like, are my cookies done? Like, how do I... all these different things. So there was all kinds of skills, job coaching, cooking and life skills, lots of travel plans within budgets or within timeframes, a lot of things on time management. So help me break down this task, help me organize my weekly schedule, understand slang, make me a packing list. So
no, make me a beer bong.
I'm sure you could take a picture of one and say, how do I make this? Right.
Might be an example. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's really interesting. We highly encourage folks to use it because at some level, I was thinking this morning about guided learning because that's what an exciting life I have. Actually, I was listening to a study about guided learning, all the major tutoring guided learning things. So one from Gemini, we'll probably cover it next week in more detail, but one from Gemini, one from Anthropic, and one from ChatGPT. And it was sort of like a critique of when these companies try to turn themselves into tutors. But what's almost more interesting is all the creativity that the students themselves bring to the task of writing prompts that help them get stuff done, including learning and problem solving, et cetera, et cetera. So, as we're all, I'm going to in the new year, I'm going to make a pledge to stop saying et cetera so much. But as we're all so busy trying to like pigeonhole kids or professional use into these like binary brain rot versus the world's smartest tutor in your pocket. Just go look at what students are doing in all sorts of creative ways. So good stuff. Any other faves there you want to highlight?
No, they were all, I mean, I really encourage you to go check out this website. They are so easy to use. Like Matt said, you click on it and it brings you right to your ChatGPT with the prompt already in there. You don't even have to copy and paste it. And many of them are written so that you can fill in the blank. So it says, my mood is fill it in. I need to learn blank.
Yep.
So they were so cool. And so many of them, I mean, I could have spent hours asking for things that I wanted to do.
Fantastic. Great. So yeah, we'll drop it in the show notes. Go check it out. And don't worry, I do talk to Liz off mic a lot about what's going on in her life and vice versa. So I don't want anyone to write and be like, Matt seems rude to you and unkind and uncaring.
He is not. He is a very supportive friend.
Yeah.
So Matt, I found another study that as a woman, I really resonated with and understood.
Let's hear it.
So the title is Women Have Always Self-Edited. Now they're using ChatGPT to do it. And so this is from Axios from September 22nd.
It's Megan Marone, who is awesome journalist.
Yeah. So women are increasingly using AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude to fine-tune their workplace communication, aiming to strike a balance between sounding confident but not aggressive. So this use the workplace gender bias. I'm so lucky to work here where I have very supportive leadership and do not feel slighted in any way as a woman. But many women are saying that the AI helps them get better results, particularly when they're sending emails or Slack messages or negotiations. But they still have this emotional burden of self-editing. So I just thought it was a really interesting study that it's not, the women editing thing is not new, and women can be, what is perceived as a positive trait in a man can be perceived negatively in a woman, and that women are now just going to ChatGPT and saying, like, make me sound the way that they want me to sound.
I was going to ask you that question. Like, what do you think the prompt reads like? You're a world-class mansplainer? Like what? Probably not that.
No, probably something like, I'm sending this to the CEO of a business. As a female employee, I want it to come across sounding confident but not aggressive.
Interesting. Should put this in the prompt library.
Yeah, I mean, it is a really interesting, there's tone detectors in tools like Grammarly. And of course, we know, sarcasm, and we want to take out those things, or we want to be sarcastic, but trying to sound confident but not aggressive, assertive but not angry, all of those things that women have to think about when they write an email. Really, just another use case of ChatGPT.
Yeah. Interesting. Really good stuff. Thanks for bringing that one forward. All right, Liz, a couple quick parent stories. Not a surprise. I think we've seen evidence of this as we've been having conversations in schools. So from Education Week, this is, did this parent hire a lawyer? I think we're seeing this a lot in special ed, but in other places as well. Schools face a new challenge with AI. So school leaders are seeing the rise of AI-generated parent complaints that mimic legal documents, often writing, using things like ChatGPT or Gemini. These messages are filled with formal language, broad legal claims. They even have the sense of like imminent legal action. So this is prompting administrators to bring in their counselor, bring in their lawyers, or spending hours crafting responses because they don't know. Did it come from
Did she already
Mervis, Rade, and Costa? Or right, exactly. Now, I love the resolution here. I mean, it's really interesting. It also talks about how principals are going into a lot of time and detail trying to dealing with these complaints and taking them seriously. They interviewed a couple people in the community, and they basically suggested get to a face-to-face meeting as soon as you can, really encouraging that as more effective and human-centered alternative, which is an interesting corollary almost to all the AI writing problems. It's like, sit down and have an oral conversation. Like, lean into the being human as the AI is creating all sorts of friction or problems that you see around you.
I immediately thought of special ed in this
For
situation because that is definitely one of the most contentious issues. And it is so easy to sound like you've gotten legal counsel by asking ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I mean, really, as a parent, it is the best thing is to just sit down with the team and talk through things for your child with special ed needs.
Although you can see as a parent, you feel like your services aren't being met. I'm sure It's gotten around the, Facebook groups like wildfire, like, just fire up ChatGPT and start So it gets interesting. But just like the kids, there are cases where, the language is so disproportionate to the sender without legal representation. Thinking about the parent piece, the National Superintendents Association, this is Jason Nefer, put out a little post called AI Starts at Home, What School Leaders Must Do Next to Engage Parents. And so this is in a blog from the AASA. Tell us quickly about this one.
Yeah, basically his suggestion is to teach parents about AI because that is it in one sentence.
Teach them how to use AI to write legal complaints for special.
Not quite
Not
that.
But,
having interactive AI nights for families, embed AI into digital citizenship education, and communicate using plain language, not tech jargon. So he said some of the best conversations come from those informal parking lot chats where you just run into a parent. But don't wait to be an expert if you're a parent. Start the conversation now. Schools, we haven't seen, have we seen a lot of schools inviting parents in and doing AI sessions? Some.
I mean, in my travels, I've done a handful of them. I think I've done like about a half dozen in different places where the school's like, hey, we're bringing this guy, Matt, to come talk about it. And they've been really interesting. I think principals have reported and superintendents, you get a little bit more attendance than you might on other things because it winds up being community members, retirees, people who just bought some NVIDIA, whatever it is. People come in with lots of different questions and perspectives, as well as a lot of parents and some school board members. So I think it's been an okay strategy.
Yeah.
But he suggests that, parent nights, but also I love, as you said, the informal conversations. One strategy that I really like, right here in Little Old Connecticut, I was meeting with the folks from Stratford over the summer at some point, and they said, we're going to do these like parent webinars. And so I'll put the link into the show note, but they did a couple of them. I think they're even talking about doing like a monthly parent AI challenge. I'm not exactly sure where that lands, but the superintendent, who's really great, was part of the webinar. I think one was called like Demystifying AI. So that's a really nice way. It's accessible for parents. They can do it either live when it's run, or they then put the recordings up of them and they can see them asynchronously. So nice job, Anya. Stratford, and a good strategy. And actually, they're very collaborative group. So if anybody wants to talk to them about what they did, feel free to reach out to us at the old ChatEDU email address. Also, a lot of people have been sending us notes off of the Skills 21 page. So we should say every now and then that's skills21.org/AI/contact. All right, Liz, now it's time to hear from our friends Edia. And actually, this is the use case where we discover these guys. It's AI and this like kind of a little attendance tool that they're using. I think all their work is really cool, but I'm especially kind of drawn to the attendance work.
Yeah, I mean, I learned about them through all the work that I do in the state with LEAP, which is the Learner Engagement and Attendance Program. And they're doing some really cool stuff with attendance, helping kids get back to school. This is an issue that I feel like everyone is talking about, just getting kids, lowering that chronic absenteeism. And Edia has some really great solutions.
Yeah, it's a very innovative kind of deployment of AI. All right, now that was Liz and Matt as co-hosts of the podcast. Yes. Let me now switch gears and put on my copy reading hat for a second and talk to you about Edia. I guess we can be two things at once, right?
Yes,
we are fans of the technology.
Authentically interested and love their stuff.
There's actually a reason that people who come on as sponsors is because we're pretty enthusiastic about what they're doing. And we got more that are going to come this winter, which is great. When a student misses school, what happens next? For most districts, it's a robocall, maybe a letter, and then nada, silence. Edia does it differently. Within minutes of an absence, our AI sends a personalized message to families, starting an automated two-way conversation. Edia makes it possible to follow up on every single absence automatically, personally, and over 50 language. And again, I'm putting on my Matt hat. It's just fast. It's right there. You're able to go back and forth to the chatbot. There's no delay. And when you need a human being to kick in, that happens. Yeah, so they are helping schools connect, not just notify. Districts see higher attendance, faster response rates, and more engaged families. It's proactive support empowered by AI. And behind the scenes, every response, every reason is logged and flagged in their MTSS team. And Liz, MTSS is?
Multi-tiered systems of support.
Something we need to talk more about, frankly, and that's another part of the work that they do. So this means that your Tier 2 and Tier 3 students don't go unnoticed. They get prioritized, supported, reconnected. The results? Up to a 50% drop in unexplained absences and thousands of hours saved for attendance teams. What could your team do with the time back? The bottom line is this. When students feel known, they show up. And when your system is built to care at scale, everybody wins. See how Edia makes it possible at edia.app/contact.
That's edia.app/contact.
All right, speaking of keeping it real, Liz, I mean, sometimes all we can do is just report what we're seeing, and it raises important questions about authenticity, humanness, skills, career pathways for kids. But you can't just ignore what's happening here.
Yeah.
So it's what in God's name are they going to talk about? So we have a series of stories we want to talk about where AI, and this is not directly K-12, but there are big implications, right? Mm-hmm. Where AI is doing creative work that human creatives historically have done. Although we're going to end with a really fun, humans win story at the end. All right. So I think there's 4 of them in total. We're going to start with actress Tilly Norwood debuts at the Zurich Summit as industry grapples with emerging tech. We want her to be the next Scarlett Johansson. This is from Variety. This came out, I think, yesterday or even this morning. We're so on top of the breaking news. All right, Liz, tell us about Tilly Norwood, who, mind you, is not a person.
Right. So she's an AI actress developed by new AI talent studio Sequoia, which is a spinoff of Particle 6. And she debuted at the Zurich Film Festival's Industry Summit. So the creator is Aline van der Velden, and she revealed Norwood's first role was in a comedy sketch and hinted at an upcoming agency representation. Van der Velden envisions, that's such a great name.
Isn't it?
Van der Velden envisions Norwood as the next Scarlett Johansson, emphasizing AI's cost efficiency and creative potential. While she sees audiences as story-focused rather than concerned about whether stars are human, there is strong backlash online reflecting public discomfort with synthetic actors. This is crazy.
I know. It's so hard to even talk about these stories because we would want an hour to process them.
So this is a non-real person who is now in movies.
Mm-hmm. Well, they want her to be. She was in some kind of comedy sketch. And the real story here, Hook, is that she was going to be picked up by a talent agency. So all the Hollywood folks are pissed, and they're going to start boycotting any talent agency that picks her up. Because remember, the Screen Actors Guild and SAG-AFTRA and all that kind of stuff had a lot of concerns about this. Now, this whole notion of we are narrative based and don't care about the human behind the thing, I don't know. Go watch every single website and blog about actors. We seem to care a lot about the human.
A lot about the acting and a lot about what actors are in. I mean.
All right. So let's call this one conceptual. But now we're going to move a little bit lower to the ground on the same theme. OpenAI is on board with a feature-length generative AI film called Critters with a Z, raises concerns about job loss in Hollywood. This is from Windows Central, where I get all my Hollywood news.
Yeah.
All right. So OpenAI is producing Critters, and I think they're the partner in this thing, but this is a feature-length animated film created largely with AI tools like GPT-5 and Sora. The film is set to debut in Cannes and Cannes. What do you like to say?
Cannes film.
When you go to the after-hour parties, do you call it Cannes or Cons?
Well, it's Cons, okay, if you are really talking about France.
All right, cool. So 2026, this is a low-budget, $30 million experiment involving just 30 people, far fewer than traditional animated teams. It's co-written by Paddington. Is that the bear?
Yes, in Peru.
Okay, there you go. Adding credibility, but raising fears. So here now, this is something in play. You and I, in any of my keynotes, I think you use it too, the Puppermine ad from PJ Ace, which is just a really quick, concrete example of what it looks like when AI does. This would not fall into the category of slop. This is, high quality, produced with people with expertise, but highly disruptive, right? And then another story, this is also from last week, AI music artist reportedly lands a multi-million-dollar record deal. This is from Game Revolution via Yahoo. So I give you all the ones that are almost impossible to read. So tell us about this one.
Yeah. So AI music artist Tanya Monet.
Ooh.
I had a friend in high school named Tanya.
Okay.
Created by Mississippi poet Talisha Jones using the Suno platform, has signed a multi-million-dollar record deal with Halwood Media, reportedly after bids reached $3 million. So Monet has over 465,000 monthly Spotify listeners, and she recently topped the Billboard R&B digital song sales chart. She has a manager, Ramel Murphy, and he insists the music is authentic, with lyrics based 90% on Jones's life. Who's Jones?
Yeah, I did some. She's the actual poet. Yeah, I did some extra digging here just to make sure. I was like, well, is she writing these things with ChatGPT? So the lyrics do seem to be pretty authentic, tied to her life, as she said, or stories of her friends or other people in her world or her family. But the music is produced on Suno. If those of you who haven't played with either Suno or Udio, you should try it out. They're very interesting. They're basically like text-to-music generators, and their feature set's getting quite a bit more robust. Those folks, by the way, originally we would have thought would have got sued out of existence, but they haven't, because they quite cleverly learned from Napster and LimeWire, and they strike now contracts. They're writing licensing deals with the music producers, which lets them have all the training data to sound like, who's that artist? She's young, female. She's got a really nice house in Rhode Island. She's marrying a football guy. You said there's something on Friday when this podcast episode.
So as this podcast is dropping,
if you're not on YouTube or Spotify, the enthusiasm on Liz's face is like, despite the heat in here, she is fired up.
It is the same day the new Taylor Swift album is dropping. So thank you for coming to listen to our podcast over spending time listening to Taylor. Can we say that we were like, listen to over Taylor Swift?
And here you can see the age difference between myself and Dr. Rade. Oh, I did really enjoy the film thing. That was really cool. What was that called? The big film of her concert.
Oh, the Eras Tour?
Yeah, the Eras Tour.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, so really interesting again. So now we've got a digital AI actor. We have an animated film, which is not a big shocker. That, right. Seems like it's in the sweet spot. Now we've got a multi-million-dollar record deal. And then a little journalism just to put the icing on the cake. This is from Business Insider, which is not the New York Times, mind you, but still. Reported on The Verge, also not Business Insider. Business Insider has authorized its journalists to use AI tools for drafting articles, research, and image editing per an internal memo reported by Status. File stories must be owned and vetted by the journalist, but the outlet reportedly won't disclose AI use to its readers unless the content is fully AI generated or unvetted, which we discovered this summer with the book recommendations is a really bad idea. Don't unvet. This policy positions Business Insider as an early adopter of AI integrated newsrooms. So we'll see where this one goes. I mean, I think what they're saying, though, is that you can basically do the whole first draft of the story, but certainly we need the quality control to be there. But, you have a great activity in the in our student AI literacy course called Old Jobs, New Jobs. Yep. And so it's got stuff like copywriter, radiologist, translator. There are jobs where the job is like, we already know are substantially, but what your bot and the activity does, if I can speak to it, it basically takes the heart of that job and talks about what new skills are going to be in place. Right. And this is potentially not all that dissimilar, where that job is turning into curatorial or quality control or both, right?
Well, we want to make sure it doesn't become slop, right? Like it's exactly what we talked about at the top, is that this, if you just let AI write all your articles, like then newspapers are going to turn into AI slop.
Yeah, 100%. So now, but I wanted to end on something truly human here.
Okay.
So there's a band in Oakland, California, in the Bay Area called the Stork Club. I don't know that you've hung out there.
No.
Yeah, it's a punk rock club, and they put their foot down. I saw this on social media originally. So they put their foot down and said, "No more what?" So it's not AI generated music. That clearly would not happen inside that club. What's the thing that they're all tweaked about?
No AI-generated concert flyers.
Exactly. Now, go ahead. Why is that a problem?
Inauthentic and harmful to freelance artists. So co-owner Billy Joe Agan cited aesthetic issues like distorted visuals and defended the decision as aligned with punk's DIY ethos.
I love it. So I just found the original Instagram post and I just dropped it into the feed. You might have to refresh, but if you want to just give the audio listener, if you're not on Spotify, Andre will drop these in. Not that they're like stunning visuals, but give us a little feel for this.
There is a huge block text that says "No more AI flyers" in this like red and orange, yellow color scheme.
All right. And what's the next page? It's like a swipe to the right.
Yeah. Okay. So now it says, over the last few months, we've started getting AI-generated flyers for our shows from various sources like indie labels, party promoters, and everyone in between. And we are seeing other venues post them as well. And the frequency is ramping up. It's giving us the ick.
The ick.
As in misspelled independent, alt venue. We feel how authentic, right? It's got huge.
There's no M dashes in here.
Nope.
Independent is spelled wrong.
But as an independent alt venue, we feel the poster art for a show has always been an essential part of the creative process of live shows. It's like the album cover of the night. Many graphic artists have cut their professional chops by creating poster art. Maybe they meant crafting poster art for live music. And we want to keep supporting that by not undercutting artists just to save a few bucks on the that should be production end. Also, it's not very punk, but man, this copy is. AI has its place in the world, like creating meme slop that makes you stupid and rendering your career irrelevant, or robocalling your mom once a week and chatting with her in your voice. Ooh, what an AI
I know.
use.
Oh, can I do that? Love it.
Matt.
Sorry.
I would never do that to my mother.
I know. And I wouldn't do it to your mother either.
But maybe to your mom.
Carry on.
All important tools brought to us by the scrappy, altruistic billionaire overlords that merely, spelled wrong, want us to live in a future of abundance.
All right. And there's a final page here, Liz. I want you to get out a red pen and repost these images back to Instagram.
So starting today, we will be requiring all flyers for our shows be made by a human. We don't care if it's a missing apostrophe, a screenshot of the Notes app with the show info, or if it's missing, just a picture of a hand with band names written in Sharpie, as long as it's not AI slop being passed off as genuine creation. Partnering with local graphic artists, we have curated a roster for wayward promoters to choose from that we will send to anyone that can't, missing an apostrophe, provide us with proof and credit for any art used to market shows. Thanks to a list of people who is barely readable because they are all on top of each other.
Okay, stop being it's a punk rock club.
Okay.
It's not a literary book club.
I'm much more of a literary book club than a punk rocker. You know that. So there's a list of names for agreeing to hop on board. So thanks to this list of names for agreeing to hop on board and give us homie prices to help stem this tide. And if you are a graphic artist interested in being added to our in-house anti-AI roster, you can send your CV to thestoreclub@gmail.com.
All right. So despite the misspellings, certainly the spirit is fantastic. I think there's something really legitimate going on here, though. I mean, I play music, and
big concert tonight, Matt Mervis.
That's right. It is tonight. Now, I have to say, we did use some AI in the generation of our photo, or our band poster, so we would not be playing at the Stork Club, but we're not exactly punk anyhow.
It is the Stork Club, spelled with 2 E's. Don't get it wrong.
What do I keep calling it?
The Stork Club.
Oh, the Stork Club. So it's okay. Excellent. So yeah, we wouldn't cut it, but I want to say, in all sincerity, I am convinced in this whole suite of stories, whether it's the AI artist or the movie or the actor that people think we don't care about their human story, I believe, and I apologize because I'm sure I've said this in the podcast before, as we see more, whether it's AI high quality or slop, the reality is that I think people are going to crave deeply authentic human experiences, whether it's at the Stork Club or at the Apple Tree Inn, where I'm playing this Friday at 7:00. Dr. Jive and the Turkeys, don't ask. And whether it's music or live theater or dance or sports or debate, whatever it is, I think people are going to crave human experiences, including social learning, PIP, problem solving, all this kind of stuff. So, I think that we got to think through all of the job consequences and we got to think about human taste. But I have a lot of faith, maybe not in the spelling of the Stork Club, but I have a lot of faith in people's ability to think through these shifts in kind of constructive ways and land ultimately in a more human-centered environment. How about that, Doc?
I like it.
You like it? You down?
I'm down.
Fantastic.
What would a punk rocker say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I doubt that. That's what a teenager would say.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hey, I'm Cameron Audia, executive producer of ChatEDU. As you likely know, Matt and Liz believe personal interest projects, or PIPs, are one of the best ways to help students bring agency and intellect to learning in the AI era. They also see PIP as a safe, ethical, and powerful way for students to master AI. If you'd like to learn about Skills 21's very own personal interest project platform and curriculum, check out skills21.org/PIP. And if you'd like to chat about PIP in real time, email Liz at chatedu@edadvance.org. I mean, after all, she wrote a book about it.
All right, Liz, it's time for a Bright Byte. So often these things are medical, and this one caught my attention this week. This is another medical story about AI and post-surgery. So actually, post-surgical care winds up being a little complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so AI is kind of moving its way into the post-surgical environment to try to improve outcomes. So tell us about this. This is from Johns Hopkins University Hub.
Yes, down the street from my alma mater of Loyola. So the title is AI Fares Better Than Doctors at Predicting Deadly Complications After Surgery. So Johns Hopkins researchers developed an AI model that detects hidden signals in routine ECGs to predict life-threatening complications post-surgery. So trained on 37,000 patient records, the AI, especially a fusion model combining ECG and patient data, outperformed traditional risk scores with 85% accuracy. So this was published in the British Journal of Anesthesia. The work suggests a major shift in pre-surgical risk assessment using AI to unlock previously invisible insights from a standard 10-second ECG.
I love this. Do you know what? This actually reminds me of the story about the earthquakes.
All right. So
It's about the data.
Okay. So I think when we did the earthquake story, it was about there was just so much data, years and years and years of data that just no human could actually find and detect the patterns.
And that's why you have an EDD. Sorry, carry on.
You distracted me and now I can't even finish my
About all the data that's just sitting there under our noses.
Yes. So there was no human that could run through all that data and find the patterns because there was just so much. And AI is really good at finding patterns. And so that's how, now that there is AI that can process all this data, they can find the patterns and say oh, look, here's some patterns that can help predict pre-surgery outcomes, post-surgery outcomes, and really hopefully do some life-saving or preventing life-threatening conditions and complications post-surgery.
Right. It's not like they had to create some new sensor, some new device, some new signal. The signals were there. What was missing was the compute and the size of the data and the kind of the analytical prowess. So another classic big data kind of analytical AI Bright Byte. And these will just keep on rolling. I think next week we're going to do microplastics in Australia.
Ooh.
Because I hear we're going to Australia. Jonathan's coming.
Oh, we are?
No. All right, Liz. Well, with that excitement, and it's always nice spending a little warm, cozy time up here. I hope you're feeling better and that your week ahead is great. I know by the time Friday hits and the Tay-Tay album is out, it will have been a good week. And if not, the Tay-Tay album will be out.
I'll be listening to Tay-Tay.
All right. So while listening to Tay-Tay, you can also roll the...
You took half my line. I just get to say credits this week?
Sorry. While listening to Tay-Tay...
Let's roll the credits. As always, we'd love to hear what you think. So please let us know at chatedu@edadvance.org. That's EDADVANCE.org. And also rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you are using. ChatEDU is brought to you by EdAdvance, the nonprofit regional education service center in Litchfield, Connecticut. This episode of ChatEDU is sponsored by the National Center for Next Generation Manufacturing. ChatEDU is recorded, edited, and produced by Andre Angelo and Justin Pasco, whose dedication and expertise bring our discussions to life. ChatEDU's executive producer is the multi-talented rock star Cameron Audia. Additionally, we are grateful for the support of our colleague Gary Robinson, and we appreciate his time and talents. And of course, a big ChatEDU shout out to our fearless leader and executive director, Jonathan Costa, for inspiring the pod. And finally, a heartfelt thank you to our listeners for joining us on this journey exploring the thoughtful and innovative integration of AI in education.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Costa, and I am the Executive Director at EdAdvance, and I want you to know how much we appreciate our listeners. If you enjoy the podcast, feel free to explore EdAdvance's other AI services, which include customized professional learning of all kinds, conferences, our new middle and high school student AI literacy course, and our Educator and Leader micro-credential, co-sponsored by the Southern Connecticut State University Office of Workforce and Lifelong Learning. Just visit skills21.org/AI to learn more. That's all for now, and thank you for listening to ChatEDU.